Hi guys, welcome back to another Conversations with Karen.
And Maya.
And today, if you could tell by the title, we are talking about planes, trains, and automobiles, which was Maya's idea for this week, and I thought it was a great idea. And so we're going to talk about basically travel and, and how that, it's just another facet of our lives and another way for you all to get to know us. If you're new to our channel, welcome. We are so glad that you're here, and we hope that you'll like to stay a while. And if you do, please hit that subscribe button because we'd love to have you join the fam. And for all of our returning peeps and fam, hi! Thank you so much for continuing to watch us, and we really appreciate you guys. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. I have tea today.
She said she was bringing tea for all of us, but then she only brought tea for herself.
Listen.
She set me up, guys. She set me up. But if
anybody remember, last week she had tea and I didn't.
I guess we're just going to keep doing this.
And yeah, we'll have tea. But if you're wondering what tea it was, I don't know why I sipped that through the straw.
It's a metal straw too.
Yeah, because it burned all the way. I don't think I have taste buds left. Hold on a second. She said,
she didn't share. The tea was like,
if any of you haven't had a blood orange yet, you can't see the color on that, but this is ginger tea, fresh ginger tea with a slice of a blood orange, and they're beautiful. When you slice a blood orange, is beautiful. Sounds creepy, but
it's only called a blood orange because the middle is a dark orange.
Yeah, dark
so
red.
They named it a blood orange.
Go figure. But it's delicious, and if you get a chance to try it, please do. So
wait, the name of the video was inspired by the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Just in case anyone.
By the way, which is a great movie to watch around the holidays. Okay, so we're rambling. Okay, so first and foremost, we're starting with how did travel get started for myself, our family, and what have you? Planes. Well, I would have to say for me, I'll get started. It did start with planes. So as you know, I'm an Air Force brat. So my dad was in the Air Force for 28 years. And prior to me, when I was 12 years old, about 12 years old, our family had our first assignment overseas. Prior to that, we were always stationed in stateside areas. But at 12 years old, it was my first plane ride. And my first plane ride obviously was to England. My father got stationed at Mildenhall, England.
Why was that obvious? You said my first plane, obviously. Was that the first?
Because, well, no. The reason why, because I said it before that I'm an Air Force brat.
But you didn't fly when your dad was stationed to places in the States?
No, so when you're stationed stateside, you drive. Mm-hmm. And if you have a lot of stuff, they'll come pack you up.
And they'll move California to Florida.
You still have to drive. Or you can fly and they reimburse you. So you can either drive or fly. My parents, I'm almost certain the reason why my parents drove is because you get paid back for all the miles and all that stuff. So, and we never went from like California to like North Carolina or anything like that. We were always going from like smaller areas like Arkansas to Little Rock, Arkansas to Columbus, Mississippi. If anybody's familiar with those bases, so like Little Rock Air Force Base to Columbus Air Force Base. So it's only 8 hours.
Geographic question.
Where is Arkansas? You have to ask these questions so people can hear you.
Nobody needs to know that.
Arkansas is...
It's on top of what state?
I don't know. But I know it's central.
Is it near Kansas?
It's above Mississippi. That's what production is saying.
Okay.
Thank you, production.
We're so sorry.
It's in the middle of
our subscribers that live in Arkansas. We
apologize. We know where you guys are.
We do.
I have a visual, but it's in the middle. Yeah, it's right in the middle, but it's south. Right. Okay. So, but it's only 8 hours down to Mississippi. Am I right? No, above Texas. Wow, you're way. Okay, no more. We're not gonna do this anymore. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
So
That's Oklahoma.
that's Oklahoma.
Oh,
Above
okay.
Texas.
Above Texas. Okay,
There's
thank you.
something there.
Thank you, production.
So
Okay.
Oklahoma residents too.
So so my family got stationed in England, Mildenhall, England, which is adjacent to Lakenheath Royal Air Force Base. So we were stationed at Mildenhall Royal Air Force Base. And so it was my family's first time. I think family's first time on a plane. So it was incredible. So we're going to hit two things at once, which is how traveling really opens you up to, understand the world around you, and also like how just wonderful it was. So that was my first plane ride. And the reason why I say it opened me up, because up until that point, my life was on Air Force bases inside like the South, in Mississippi and Arkansas. Never been outside the country before. And so traveling, so we had to go from Mississippi, we drove to Baltimore, Maryland, and took the plane. We were flown from Delaware over to Gatwick Airport in London. And not only was it my first plane ride, but whole other story was we were stuck in Delaware for 3 days because the plane was broken. That's a whole other story. But anyway, when we got to Gatwick, it was my first time. If you've ever gone through customs, man, there's so many people from so many places around the world. And as a 12-year-old, it was mind-blowing to see. And I just remember the people. I remember so many faces that I had never seen before. So many different cultures were represented in customs. And it was just mind-blowing to be there and see all of those different people. And then when we headed, through London, we had to drive through to get down to Mildenhall Base on a bus. A bus from the base came to get us all of the people who were stationed there. And it was just to see the countryside. The countryside
See the countryside from the airport?
No. So we had to take a bus.
Mm-hmm.
So back then, I don't know how it works now, but whatever base you were stationed on, were getting stationed to, they would send a bus to the airport. So, and it rotated. So every 2 or 3 hours, a bus would come from Mildenhall or Lakenheath to the airport, pick up people and take them back. And then another bus would come in rotation so that no one got stuck at the airport, which was really cool. And so we had a 2.5 hour bus ride back to Mildenhall, and just seeing the countryside, it was vastly different than where I was from, or where I had seen. Because essentially, I will say this, my parents are from New Orleans, Louisiana. Whoop, whoop, New Orleans, baby. Yes, we are. And they both have accents, yes. And do I have an accent? Absolutely. It's just sometimes, yes. It comes out. But, I consider myself kind of like a global citizen because I've never really lived anywhere long enough to put down roots except for as an adult, and that's after my husband retired from the military.
So your parents lived in New Orleans before they were stationed in the military?
Yeah, both.
So they lived there before he joined the military.
Mm-hmm. So my parents both grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. My mother was born and raised in New Orleans. My dad and his family moved there when he was like 9. And so they are New Orleans through and through, especially my mother. And because my dad's family moved there from Colorado. But up until that point in time, they hadn't left the U.S. either. So it was a memorable experience for us all, leaving and going to our first place, which was England. And it's really incredible, because I would have to say that actually changed my life, both in so many different ways. So travel is huge in our family. What was your first remembrance of travel?
I remember each travel experience. I was 4 the first time I believe I got on the plane, and that was from going to Mississippi to Portugal. I don't exactly remember the flight, but I remember being picked up. Okay, so she'll tell me if I'm misremembering. She will. I remember somebody, either this was when we flew from Portugal to Heidelberg or Mississippi to Portugal, which was somebody came and picked us up from the airport and took us back to where we were supposed to be staying.
Okay, so
and TLF existed. That was like a very big part of flying to someplace. You would say TLF till your house was ready, but I don't know if you say TLF.
Well, I'll say this. So story time. So obviously when I met the hubster, he was obviously in the Air Force. And so one thing that we wanted for the kids is for them to be able to travel too. If we ever had any kids, which we did, we want them to travel. So she's right, at 4 years old was her first plane ride. But I'm gonna tell you something. We got stationed in Lajesville, Portugal, one of the Azorian islands. Beautiful, beautiful, and the people were absolutely incredible. So if you're watching from Lajes, or one of the Azorian islands, you guys are fabulous, just wonderful, so welcoming. But I will say this, as we were on the plane going from Baltimore to Lajesville, Baltimore, that Baltimore side of the plane?
Baltimore. Why were we in Baltimore if we came from Mississippi?
We had to drive. No, we drove to make it. Most times, many of you who travel a lot, you will drive to a port.
Did we drive up and stay with Miss Judith and then continue?
Yeah, we drove and we stayed with friends, and we said our goodbyes to friends and family as we drove all the way up the way.
We had to drive from Mississippi to the port that was in Baltimore so we could ship the car.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So we drove in a rental car?
No, we drove.
I love how I'm learning my own history, right?
So basically what he's saying is, in order for us to ship our car, the military was going to ship it, but we could have shipped it from Mississippi, right?
Yes.
But then we wouldn't have been able to drive up to Baltimore. So we drove to Baltimore, and then we were going to fly out of there. They made our flights from there, and then we were able to ship our car while we stayed with friends, and our friends took us to the airport. This all like crazy and everything.
I remember that though. I remember staying with friends and saying goodbye to them.
We were saying goodbye to friends and family. Yeah.
Because we were going to go abroad and be there for a very long time.
Yeah, it took us a week. It didn't take a whole week to drive from Biloxi, Mississippi. We were stationed at Biloxi Air Force Base. And we drove from Biloxi Air Force Base
to South
Carolina, to North Carolina, up to Maryland. Mm-hmm. And to say our goodbyes, and ship out things and everything, and ship out the vehicle. But let me tell you something. The plane ride, no one warned us when you are sitting over the Atlantic Ocean for an extended period of time. And actually, it was supposed to be a short flight. It was only 4 hours. It was only 4 or 5 hours from Baltimore to Lajesville. Remember?
Yeah. They fly up to no pole.
Why is it 8 hours from New York to Paris?
No, it's 6. Correct us. I think it's 6. Yeah, it's 6 hours, I believe.
It's kind of short to go on the other side of the world.
Right, but listen, that once you got into the closer to Lajes we got, the more rain started falling, and we got there in January, and the wind and the rain was blowing, and the last 30 minutes of the flight was complete turbulence. Yeah, our kids thankfully were asleep.
Oh,
but but we were experiencing the plane go up, down, up, down. It was a really
so like
crazy.
those little cartoon images where the plane's wings are going up.
Yes, it was scary, but I was so grateful that our kids were asleep because there were other children and they were not asleep. And and I felt like doing what the kids were doing, which was screaming.
It's always funny when there's actual turbulence and a kid is actually screaming because you're like, I want to scream with you.
I want to scream with you,
but
kid.
I can't.
I was trying to hold it together and squeeze my eyes shut. And they were like, there's a storm underneath us. Okay.
Like, really? I didn't know.
I did not know it was a storm. But when we landed, everybody needed help, off the plane. Because if you've ever been to Lodgesfield, the wind, when it's raining really hard, the rain comes down slanted and hard. And so it was basically, they had the steps, they pulled the steps next to the plane, and we had to get off the plane, and there were so many airmen out there helping us all off the plane. It was incredible. I mean, that was our introduction.
So I do remember it correctly. I was late for this part.
Some people had to come up and reach and take the kids down. It was crazy. But the next day, one thing I will say about Lodgesfield is that when
because
it rained,
Maya always got blown away.
Yeah, Maya always got blown away.
Because I was so small?
Yes.
I still get blown away.
Yes. We had to hand you to one of the airmen because you were like gonna fly off the stairs. It was like, whoa! But the next day in Lodgesfield, we were in, they had Angra, and what was the other side? Praia. So the base was on the side of the Praia, the city of Praia. It's a city. And just gorgeous. You wouldn't have known it rained. Right, production?
Yes.
Anytime it rained on the island, when the rain was done,
it went to the ocean.
It was gone. The streets seemed dry. The grass was not mushy.
So like
beautiful.
Someone could probably call it insane. Be like, it was raining. What?
Yes.
It was raining. It's about to get.
And the fields there were verdant and just absolutely. If you ever get a chance to visit one of the Azorian islands, you'll notice the grass is just so beautiful.
I remember, and I still tell Mom, but I remember this, and I remember it so vividly, even though we only lived there when I was 4 and 6. She needs to stop doing that. It's kind of getting sad. The rocks are different colors than I've ever seen anywhere before, and still haven't seen. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because they were like volcanic. But the rock color was brown, like a dark brown rock. And it wasn't like, you go outside and you see some, what they call slate colored rocks, like the gray colored rocks. Those are the normal ones around here. But there, it was huge cliff slides that are all gigantic rocks. And we have some pictures of us standing on the edge, and the water's crashing into it, and I can I swear I can hear it in my head.
Yeah.
It was a memory that's never going to go away.
So, question.
The wind in
So,
this house.
as a family, we've traveled to 13 different countries.
Didn't just count me.
Yeah. And so, with that being said, where's your favorite place that you've been?
I don't have one. People keep asking me this question anytime I tell them that my family was well-traveled. Is well-traveled.
And I would say that was a privilege of being in the military as well.
Yes, but I don't have a favorite place. I have favorite memories from every place.
Okay, so what's your favorite memory?
From a place. Okay, one of my favorite memories from Switzerland, though, my whole family will tell you, I was sick in Switzerland because we were so up high, and we'd never been in a place where you were that what is it called?
We went to visit. We went to visit Interlaken. So we were like just a few feet from the mountains there called the Jungfrau, and
was it in a park?
Down on the ground. Yeah, on the ground it was dry,
but it didn't
beautiful. In the
you
mountains,
didn't look like you were in the mountains, but you were
in the
high.
mountains. Yeah, and she was sick. She just came down sick, and we went to the.
I can't pronounce it.
The apotheca, the pharmacy,
And
And-
it's not the
Oh,
memory.
so you want me to tell?
No, it's not the memory of it, because I was having, like, we could call it asthma. I couldn't breathe because we were too up high. No one else was having this problem.
No, we weren't.
Just me. And I guess maybe because I was too short. I don't know. But they gave me this medicine.
And the
I've
lady,
never
but let me
seen
just
that-
tell this story. So one thing I like about travel is like people know, even if you don't speak the same language, people know how to guide you to where you need to go. And so we asked the people, we were staying at a hostel there because they had family hostels, and you could, they had family hostels so everybody could room together, or you could get 2 rooms that were adjacent to each other. And that's what we did. And I went and asked one of the ladies who worked there, where could we go? And she heard Maya coughing, and she was like, oh, take her to the apotheca, they'll take care of you. We walked there, and I didn't know what to, you could walk everywhere. And I didn't know what to say to the lady, so it was my turn in line, and I was like, I was using German.
Yeah, at that point you knew
English,
some languages, but we
a little bit of Swiss German, and I was like, and I pointed to Maya, and Maya just started coughing, and I was like, and she said, oh, and she knew then
the language of action.
And then she gave us this cough syrup, and actually it wasn't a cough syrup, and she said you're going to give her 3 doses of it. Now, mind you, we're in a foreign country to us, and she's telling us to give it to her 3 times. She's gonna cough, and then it's all gonna come up. Like, what's gonna come up? I was like so nervous, and so we went back nervously.
Most of this is mine, by the way.
Yeah, and yeah, most of this is mine. We're like, and she's like, and then
we are not speaking
between German, English, all mixed in there. And so we go back to our room. We give it to her 3 times, like the pharmacist said. Maya coughs, is like turns into all this coughing fit, and she was right. Everything came up, and then after that,
the entire trip was amazing. After that.
Yeah,
everything was beautiful. I believe we got really close to the mountains, and there were these hang gliders, and we didn't get to do it because we thought we were
no longer sick.
I was no longer sick. I thought we were further into the mountains than we were, but people were actually in the mountains, and they were jumping from this level to hang glide, and we could watch. I was like, Mom, let's do that.
Oh, so you just went back to your story?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was fun about it? But I'm saying, the bit that was, I've never seen medicine like that ever again. So if you are living in Switzerland and you know what that medicine was called,
let us know.
I've been trying to figure it out for years as a biology student, and having cough in America, I don't know what that was called, but it was amazing.
That was amazing.
But I couldn't enjoy the trip until I was able to breathe, because everyone else was like, oh, it's so beautiful, and I'm like, hey, breathe.
I would say my favorite place that
was, you said one of them.
Okay.
Do I do all of them, or just you do a memory next?
Okay.
What was a memory? Because I don't think you have a favorite country either, do you?
No, I have not a favorite country. Well, it is favorite. I have a favorite location, which was Germany. We were stationed at, it is a country.
Okay, thank you.
But it's a location.
Like,
when you think about travel, we got stationed at Heidelberg base in Germany, and it was central, right, to everything. So if you were in Germany, you could easily get to France, you can get to the Netherlands, you could get to Belgium, you could get to Austria, you could get anywhere.
The thing is, when you're in country, it's cheaper.
Oh.
If you try to fly from America and try to do the same thing, will
Well,
be...
if you come from here, if you go from the U.S. and you go over, the biggest cost is going to be your flight. Yeah. The biggest cost is going to be your flight. Everything else...
But then you just need a central location. Yeah. And you can branch off.
Everything else is doable. It's just the flight that you have to pay for. That's your upfront cost, is getting on the plane. But once you're on the plane, everything else, anywhere we went was inexpensive. Like food is inexpensive. sightseeing is inexpensive.
But also,
everything is
I
inexpensive.
feel what we should say, because this is the traveling video, we're not a family that, we're a family that likes to go see things. So we will go and look at things. It doesn't exactly have to be really expensive. We just want to go see the sights.
But also,
so we're
we'll
a
say
family that wakes up and
the hotel is basically where we go to sleep. But
Yeah,
we
but we're
spend
not
most
there.
of the day
so we don't
out.
Yeah.
The other thing too, suggestions if you're traveling. This video is all over the place, by the way.
No,
So
it's about traveling. So.
yeah. So the if you're traveling, make sure you go see some of the outlier places. Don't just stick, if you're traveling with a group, don't just stick to the itinerary. Go see the real people. Right. Go see the real people in the place where you're going. Interact. Go to like the little stores like Lidl. Go to those places.
I always joke, because you know how
Little bakeries.
everyone ends up going to like some centralized locations. Like they're like, oh, I went here. I'm not going to say any of them because I don't want to offend anyone. But you go here. I want to be the person that has the pictures of the places where no one goes. I want to be the person to be like, yeah, we went here, and it was really amazing. It was really nice. I don't like going to like the touristy places. I want to go to places where the people that live there like to frequent.
And in some places, minds were blown because it was when we first got to Germany, we would travel. Production, do you want to mention a place that you were really, it was surreal? Mine is like, because
You just said Germany, but you didn't.
I'm gonna say this. Going to Germany, that was my second time being in Germany. I've gone to Germany as a kid on a field trip. Mind you, I was a teenager going to a Department of Defense school in England. Field trips were to Belgium. I was in choir, so we did Belgium, and it was on we were right there on the border we went to Shape. So there's a place called Shape, and it's an international base, and this station is situated where you're near Germany, Belgium, France, all of that's right around you. And you know, my host family at that time was living on the German side. So the school was in Belgium. Am I right? Mm-hmm. But our host family lived in Germany. So, and it was only like 25 minutes or so to the school. And so they used to just take us there every day. But
that's your main line?
No, I was asking your dad. I was asking production.
I'm biased because I'm gonna say Germany too,
because
it was 2 times that I was in Germany.
Okay.
He always agrees with Mom.
No, but I was gonna say, remember when we went to Paris the first time? When we went to Paris?
Yes.
So
I haven't been working in Paris.
Well, I'm gonna say this. The reason why for me that was like really surreal was because Paris is like you're actually there, and there are things that you see on TV or places that when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that'd be so cool, to go and see. But you never really think like, I'm gonna see it. And so when you see it for the first time, like the Champs-Elysees, it was like, and you're seeing the Eiffel Tower, like you're really there seeing the Eiffel Tower. It's like, whoa,
It's funny. She has a perspective of being an adult in Paris. I have a perspective of being a kid. And one of the things is we left our hotel, and we left it in the morning. We don't come back to it until dead in the nighttime. So we went, and Mom always had a little research that she did before we went on the trip. She took us to a bakery, and they gave us pastries and, croissants. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. And I remember that was the best croissants I ever had in my life. And we took it onto the metro. And metros in Europe aren't really the same as metros in the States. A lot of people use them. Like, it's just centralized transportation to get you from one destination to another. And I remember we were getting in the metro, and we had a little metro card thingy to get into the metro. And I remember the train's coming, and there's this gap between the hard, what is this thing called, and the train. and I'm sitting there looking at it, and everyone's like, "Oh man,
Okay, so let me. Okay,
we're gonna go
but
there,"
let me
and
just
I'm
say-
like, "I'm gonna fall into the tracks."
But let me just say this: they do not play with the metro in Paris, right? And people are so packed in there, you're like sardines, and they do not care. Like, people were like right next to one another. And so we had our kids right next to each other, bumped up against each other and everything. It was crazy. The metro, and also when you were getting off, you had to make sure you grabbed all your kids. Like grab everybody, because there were so many people.
One of your
like
kids
one
get
of you
swallowed into the mist.
right, and then you're like, no, while they're going away on the metro. So that was a huge fear.
Some kids literally are like, "Oh, I'm curious. I'm gonna go look over there."
Also,
I wouldn't let go of my parents. I thought I was gonna be like.
Also, having kids, they wanted to be a little bit more responsible with they wanted to use their own metro cards, and I think it was you or one of your sisters couldn't get their metro card into the thing. We could see the metro coming, and the hubster had to reach over the thing, grab one of them, because they couldn't even get their thing, and pull them over the other side so we could run and get the metro, because they were like, I can't get my card in.
So what you're saying is, you guys didn't pay for one job.
I'm gonna blame it on one of the children. They didn't pay for themselves.
The card worked. There was money on the card,
but they did not pay for themselves.
But the thing is, what I liked about it is the metro took us basically everywhere we wanted to go in Paris, and we only used a taxi, I think, like twice or three times.
No, twice.
Because the taxi fare was well more expensive than the metro.
No. The taxis weren't that bad.
They weren't?
No, we used a taxi to get from the airport. No, we used a taxi to get from the train station to the hotel, and then we used a taxi to get from the hotel back to the train station. And we only used a taxi one other time. That was to get from the Eiffel Tower, because we got turned around. Like, we got lost in there.
But it took us to each of our destinations, I remember being so short and the Eiffel Tower being so big, and just like craning my head back to look at it. And we have a lot of like pictures of that time frame, but I remember it as a child's awe of just being in Paris. And by the way, we went during Christmas time, because
right before Christmas.
You go to a really popular country in its season, like it's on season, it's different. But it was freezing, so we had these little puffer German jackets. Those jackets were like amazing. But we had these little puffer jackets in all our pictures, and we're like, look, the Eiffel Tower.
Okay, so I would say this: if you're looking to, that's what I was going to say. So, in future, where's one place that you could see yourself going to visit? Where's one place that you really want to go and see? I have 2 places.
I have a lot of stuff. That's fine.
Just narrow it down to 2, because production is giving us time.
Okay. We're skipping the step.
We're just going straight through.
Okay. Grenada. That is one place. I want to go, and forgive me for very, very, very butchering this, but it's the Yucatan in Mexico. It's I think a region in Mexico. I want to go exploring that. I want to go to a lot of places.
I see that, because I said 2 and you're still going.
Oh, true. And obviously I gave a region, not an actual place, so that was even cheating. But I want to go to Grenada because of the spices. If you've watched my side of the channel, the teas and stuff, they have all these spices. It's like these spice isles. Is that what?
The Isle of Spice.
Isle of Spice. And they have like, it's just growing everywhere, and like I want
and there are so many, if you want to follow, there are so many people. There's a guy named Donald Modesto on Instagram. He lives in Grenada, and it's because of him, and following him, and then following people that he follows, that we started to see be introduced to the Isle of Spice, to see raw nutmeg. He can literally go in his backyard and pull off cinnamon bark My mind was completely
what is the
blown.
spice store?
Yeah, like what's a spice
backyard?
store when it's in your backyard? Like seriously. He has like all sorts of spices, bay leaf.
Like a utopia of spice.
It was just incredible. So if you want to follow somebody on Instagram, his name is Donald Modesto. I'll try to find his information and link it in the description below. If I want to travel with the hubster, and
I should have stolen her country, really. And this is why I want to go. But.
No, so I have two places that I want to go to. The first place, and we had friends in Portugal who kept saying we have to go, is Brazil. Hi, Brazil! Woo! Friends who have family there was like, you could go, I can introduce you to my family, that sort of thing. So Brazil is on the list of places to go. And then my other place that I want to visit is Tanzania, more specifically Zanzibar. Woo! I want to go there. Look at her. And I even want to make that a family trip, like all of us and the adult kids.
No, that's actually a very good idea. So like when YouTube is like,
she's
when YouTube is going, we'll just finance a trip to Zanzibar. That will be
the college student.
That will be our 100K trip.
Oh,
yeah. We have 100K subscribers, so you guys will be the ones that get us there
to Zanzibar. But yeah, I want to go to Zanzibar. I want to go to Senegal. I want to go to Ghana. Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go everywhere. I really do.
I do.
I just want to continue to keep traveling, and I know that you would need to have a certain amount of capital to do this, but I will give you
actually, there's so many travel bloggers out there, and I appreciate every last one of them, because if you're looking for some, there's Onika Travels. There's lots of, I'm going to link quite a few in the description below, because there are ways of traveling that don't cost a ton of money, for sure. Like I said, the biggest cost most of the time is plane fare, and that's plane fare on this side. So if you're in the U.S. and you're traveling to another place, that's, it can be high. But once you're in a particular country, for instance, to fly from Germany to England, at the time we were there, it's probably gone up a little bit. It was 25 euros, so about $30 in country to go from one place to another. It's not that expensive. Also, you can take the train.
It also depends on what season you're in. So if you're in the it season of wherever you're flying to, it will be more pricier. But if you're in its off season, then
try
cheaper.
Try traveling in the off season.
The off season, like, it's just as great as the on season, except you might. Okay, so if the on season is usually summertime, you might go there when it's winter and it might be cold. But in some places on the other side of the equator, you think that you're going through the winter and you're actually going into their summer, which is their on season. So knowing that is the difference.
And also, I will say this: travel opens up so much for everybody. You get to meet people from different cultural backgrounds than yourself. You get to try different foods. And then I think it makes people more compassionate and more understanding of the people and the world around them. And, because it's hard to eat someone's food and not share in that experience with them and try to understand them and get to know them better. For instance, production, I know what time it is. Okay, last thing, because production is like really wrapping us up. Okay.
Everyone is blinding me to production.
Okay.
You can see.
But I will say this. I had a friend when we were in Germany. She was Congolese, and she invited everybody to her home for dinner. And when we were there, she was cooking. The food smelled so good. And now we were just waiting. And the table was all set and everything. And I'll tell you afterwards.
No, what country?
Oh, no, I thought you wanted me to tell her name.
What country? What's he from?
We still friends on Facebook, so I'm like, no.
What country?
She was from the Congo.
What about the lady who's...
Girl, let me just... Okay. So So, see, now that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I was about to say
I could tell that story
but
too.
We're being timed out, guys.
Okay,
So if
listen.
at this point.
Yeah, because now it's all, see, this is me trying to not, I don't want to control the conversation. I really want to flow. But this is what I was going to say. So she's cooking the dinner and she's like, oh, it's just delicious, wonderful smells coming from the kitchen. And the table is set and prepared for everybody. So we all go sit down. And when we go to the table, there's plates on the table. And the food comes out and the food has bowls to serve from. And you put the food onto your plate. So I had no problem with that. But I'm looking around for utensils, like the fork, the knife, everything. I'm like, I'm looking around, and I remember saying to my friend, because she was going back and forth, making sure that everyone was settled and enjoying the meal. And I said, I don't have a fork. But she was like, no, in this house, we eat with our hands. I was like, oh, okay. All right. And that's when I started to notice that other people had already started eating. I was the one that was behind. And so I thought, okay, well, I just attributed to eating pizza, or, if you're in New Orleans and you're eating like chicken or something like that, you eat it with your hands. So I was like, okay. And she showed me with her plate, with the food, how you mix it all together. And so it was a very wonderful experience. And, I was so grateful for that experience. And then it helped me to understand her culture more. And I was so appreciative of that, and what you were talking about, one other thing that we did, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
Wait, I can tell the story.
I don't know if we're going to tell the same story. So when we were in Lodgesfield on a military base, there's lots of people who are, from all over. And at the time we were homeschooling, and a friend of ours, she was from Kenya. And one thing that, she was talking about, teaching children and all this stuff. And so we decided once a week she would come to our home, and, because she was a teacher, and, and you weren't on the base there. If you were a spouse, you really couldn't get a job on base. So, she would come to the house and once a week teach the kids Swahili and, teach them about Kenya and everything. And it was just really wonderful. And, it helped me as well, because my idea of Kenya or any, in places in that region was totally different from what my children understood at that time. So I was also getting an education. And so I was really grateful for that. And travel really can open you up for understanding, and it changed your perspective completely. But what were we going to say?
Conclusion, the video needs to conclude, so I'm going to table it for a part 2 video. We still have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to travel. If she burns mouth again, it's getting
I was trying not to laugh, completely.
We need a part 2. I have no idea. Production, what is our clock at the moment?
42 minutes.
Okay. So it's time for us to wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all of the subscribers.
Please take time to travel.
We have 1,000 and something. Mom might know the exact number.
We're almost at 1,000. We're almost at 1,100.
So I love how it's moving a lot faster. When we were at 900 and we were trying to get to 1,000, and now it's going the reverse. Thank you guys. We are astounded by the views on the last camera.
Oh yes, you guys are so wonderful.
It literally doubled the second one. So they're all in a playlist if you guys want to watch them kind of in order.
And we will leave all of the different traveling people that we know of in the description below.
But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video.
Please like, share, and subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram, and bye guys.
Bye.